Hi. So today let's look a little bit in detail on the treatment for pancreatic cancers and how this disease has evolved over the last couple of decades. When we compare pancreatic cancer with all other GI cancers like colorectal or gastric cancers or liver cancers, we found that pancreatic cancer still lags behind in terms of outcomes as compared to all the other cancers. We still have poorer outcomes, more and more patients coming with advanced disease in pancreatic cancers. In spite of aggressive treatments, in spite of aggressive surgeries and chemotherapy and radiation, we still find a lot of patients with pancreatic cancer coming back with recurrent disease and not doing as well as some of the other cancers. So it is a disease, it is a dreaded disease. It is a cancer with poorer outcomes as compared to the other cancers. And hopefully, in coming times, we will have more drugs, more chemotherapy, which will improve outcomes in pancreatic cancers. Surgically, we've probably been very, very aggressive with pancreatic cancers, and that has improved outcomes by radical surgeries, by extended lymphadenectomies, by vascular resections. Every effort is made to try and get the cancer out in its entirety, and that has improved outcomes in pancreatic cancer. Again, similar to gastric cancers, pancreatic cancers sometimes are very indolent cancers, especially the ones in the left side of the pancreas. They often tend to present late. Tumors in the head of the pancreas are they present earlier because they would present with obstructive jaundice, and that's how the patients come to us often with jaundice, which has been treated for varying amounts of time with various treatments, naturopathy, and Ayurvedic treatment and a concoction of various medications before finally somebody has done an ultrasound or a CT scan and found a tumor in the pancreatic head. So if you have jaundice for more than a couple of weeks, it's unlikely to be infective. You should meet your doctor, and it would not hurt to do an ultrasound so that these cancers can be picked up early. So that's one of the commonest presentation of pancreatic cancer is jaundice. Of course, many patients were also present with loss of weight, loss of appetite, and very, very vague symptoms. There are no fixed or known causes for pancreatic cancer. Chronic pancreatitis is one of the associations. Smoking and alcohol can increase the incidence of pancreatic cancer, but by and large, we cannot really pinpoint and say that this is the cause of pancreatic cancer. So it's a cancer which is an enigma. Not too much is still known about pancreatic cancer. As far as treatment is concerned, if the jaundice is quite high and you have fever or which is associated with the jaundice, often we need an ERCP, which is an endoscopic procedure where we put in a stent in your bile duct to reduce the jaundice, and that helps in the surgery subsequently. At the same time, if the jaundice is not too high and there are no other symptoms along with the jaundice, we can operate upfront. It actually speeds up and we can get to the surgery early, and that actually helps. Stenting usually delays surgery but is necessary in some patients. So that's a choice that the pancreatic surgeon usually makes on whether you go for stenting or direct surgery. Surgery for a head pancreas tumor is usually called the Whipple's pancreaticoduodenectomy. It's one of the most complex operations in the abdomen, where the head of the pancreas along with the gallbladder, the lower part of the bile duct, and the duodenum is removed, and the pancreas and the bile duct and the stomach are joined back into a loop of small intestine. So it's a long surgery which is fraught with a little higher rate of complications as compared to most other surgeries in the abdomen. It has been well proven that a team which does this very routinely has a significantly better outcome for the patient as compared to somebody who does it occasionally. And that's why a high volume tertiary referral center is the place to go for a Whipple's pancreatic duodenectomy. Sometimes, along with the Whipple's, we need to remove a part of the vein called the portal vein or the superior mesenteric vein if it is involved, and join it back either primarily or with a graft. So we also do a aggressive lymph node clearance to stage this disease accurately and try and give you the best possible outcomes. In spite of all efforts, a small percentage of patients can have complications after this surgery, a lot of which is dealt with multidisciplinary approach with an interventional radiology team, which may need to put in a small tube or aspirate out fluid collections. Occasionally, patients can have bleeding, which again is dealt with by the interventional radiology team. So it needs a center with all faculties available to try and help you sail through this disease smoothly. Distal pancreatic tumors in the body and the tail of the pancreas often present late, as I said, but many of them are amenable to a distal pancreatectomy or a subtotal pancreatectomy. Often we do this with laparoscopy or a robotic technique, which has really revolutionized the way we treat these cancers. Many of these patients go home in 3 to 4 days after the surgery, after minimal access surgery. And it's a much safer surgery as compared to the Whipple's pancreatic duodenectomy. Many patients with pancreatic cancers will require chemotherapy and or radiation before or after the treatment or after the surgery. And usually it is the multimodality treatment, like most other cancers, which is necessary for these cancers. And every year we are getting better and better as across the world, outcomes of pancreatic surgery are improving. But as I said earlier, it still lags behind in terms of outcomes as compared to the other cancers. And hopefully the next decade will see vast improvements in outcomes in pancreatic cancer with better and better targeted therapy. Please feel free to contact us for further details, look at our website for further details, and we are there to help you every stage of the way.